Hey everybody, Jace Allen here. Welcome back to the channel. So on today's episode, I'm reviewing a Leo Jaymz Les Paul style guitar. Got this from Amazon, sitting in the box. We're going to do a quick unboxing and then we'll do some sound tests and we'll talk about the specs. I'm going to start putting chapters in my videos so that you can skip ahead to different things if you'd like. Some people don't like to see the unboxing. I can understand that. My videos tend to be a little long. I'm a little long-winded sometimes, but hopefully the chapters will help you navigate through these videos so that you can find the information you're looking for. So let's get started. Okay, so here's why I think unboxing is important, so that people can see things like this. This is the condition that the box came in. So the top of this was kind of ripped off. There's a big dent here, big dent here. This has kind of been raked across something, you know, but it feels like it's inside of a foam container. But the last guitar I did, the Faux Jill SG, that was in foam also, and it was still ended up having damage on it. So I think it's kind of important to see, you know, how things are boxed. And maybe some people just like to see things unboxed too. It's kind of an anticipation or whatever. I don't know. I guess if enough people complain about it, I could quit doing it. But I don't know. Whatever. So again, this is less than 200 bucks. This is kind of where I'm at now with guitars. Is right around the $200 price range, maybe 250. Okay, so foam insert. Oh, this is nice. So they did a real good job here. It's a molded foam insert, so the headstock isn't sticking out like it was. Looks like it's okay. So there's an insert there with some information on music lessons. Typical bag with your cheap cable. Okay. So everything looks pretty good there. So let's see how it actually... Oh, yeah. Ooh. This is nice looking. So this is the... Ooh, wow. Oh! I'm missing a knob. See that? Is it in the case? Yeah, it's in the bag. So, see, where else can you get this type of in-depth reporting and drama? Boy, that knob has been through something. Okay. Pretty rough looking on top. All right. Okay, so let's check this thing out. So first of all, okay, so this is it here. This is the Leo Jaymz. Let's see if we have a model number. LJLP. Okay, so it doesn't have a model number. It's just their version of a Les Paul style. And it came in all these different colors here, but this particular one in the matte black has the $10 off coupon available, which would bring the cost to $179. Just keep in mind that not all of these models have that coupon, and not all of them are available right away. You've got free delivery Tuesday. This one says Thursday, Tuesday. This one's $209 because it has the flame maple top on it. That's a really sharp looking guitar. Oh, and gold hardware too. That's interesting. But this is what we ended up with here is the matte black. And let's go over some of the specs. Matte black, Les Paul style guitar, mahogany body, mahogany neck. It says ebony fretboard. And it really looks like it could be ebony. I'm pretty surprised because you rarely see an ebony fretboard on guitars in any price range. Usually a higher end guitar has an ebony fretboard. And this really looks like ebony, but it could be that engineered wood, the Richlite. It's hard to say. It's really hard to say. It could be that engineered stuff, but it's got like almost like a grain to it. It looks like it could actually be wood. It's hard to say because that Richlite stuff really kind of looks like wood. It might have like a grain to it. And then it says mother of pearl. Well, it says rectangle pearl inlays on ebony fingerboard. So if I don't know, it's really hard to trust specs on these cheap guitars because there's a lot lost in translation, I think, and they hide stuff and they don't do complete, you know, they don't, you know, show all the specs in detail. But if this is an ebony fretboard with actual mother of pearl inlays, then this neck is pretty high end for this guitar. My guess is it's a Richlite fingerboard with acrylic inlays. Let's see, this is a 24 3/4 inch scale length, chrome hardware, Tune-O-Matic Bridge, double humbuckers with the chrome covers on them, 3-way switch, tone, tone, volume, volume. These are not stainless steel frets, and there is a little bit of sprout on them. They are a little bit, ever so slightly sharp. So you know that they were put together and then the neck shrinks, and so it starts to reveal the edges of those. And the bad part about it is this is a bound neck. So when I go through to file those down, I'm going to really have to be careful of that binding. It doesn't say what the nut is. It looks like plastic to me, but I'm not positive. I'd actually have to take it out to get it to check it. It's got a C-shaped neck. C plus U, yeah, so it's a taper. So it starts out as a C here, and then it tapers down to a D or a flat C or whatever down here. And then and it's not thick, real thick. It's a nice neck shape, and it's a matte, all matte finish, so the neck slide, you know, you can move up and down it really good. Regular old sealed tuners on that. Decent headstock shape with the their logo on it, and it says single cut deluxe on it. And then they're not trapezoid inlays, they're just square. Binding around the whole body on the top, and it's a real nice antique looking white. And it says it comes with Leo Jaymz 1046 strings. I took the calipers to the strings that were originally on it, and they said 9. So again, the specs often lie to you. And let's see, fingerboard radius is 14 inches, which is nice. 22 frets, and the nut width is 42.85 millimeters, so it's not 43 millimeters like the Fogil SG. I can tell playing this guitar that it's a little narrower. My fingers are pretty fat, and I like a little bit of space. And the string spacing might actually be pretty tight on this because the strings are really far away from the edge of the fretboard. I mean, to me it seems like they could be just, like the spacing could be a little better. So maybe I'll replace the nut on this right away. Let's see, what else does it say? Tune-O-Matic, mahogany. Did I say mahogany? Mahogany body and neck. This is the model's LGLP. And then chrome, matte black, 3-way switch, 2 volume, 2 tone. Fretboard radius 14. Oh, it does have the carved top, set neck. It's not a bolt-on neck. It's an actual set neck truss rod adjustment. One thing to note on these cheap guitars, the truss rod was loose, which means that the screw for the truss rod was never tightened one way or the other. I had to actually tighten it because I checked it with the gauge and it was super flat. And when because I actually have replaced the strings on it, so we'll get into that in a minute. And so I wanted to put a little bit of relief to it, so I put my Allen wrench in there and started turning it, and it took a few turns before the truss rod actually, you know, like engaged, like it actually grabbed. So it was basically loose. So you might want to check that on your guitars as well. Let's see. It doesn't say whether these are Alnico. I believe they're not Alnico. The covered humbuckers on the Fogiel SG were the same. They were covered humbuckers, and I didn't realize until I was editing the video and playing, you know, I was adding the playback for the guitar, and you could actually hear me talking into the pickups. That's how microphonic the pickups are on that Fogiel Les Paul style. These are fairly good. I would call these medium jumbo frets. They're pretty big. That is one thing that I think I'm going to have to maybe work on. And then the nut, I did file the nut slots down because the action was pretty high at the first fret. It's still a little high. I really want to replace the nut on this because I think a Tusk nut would be far better. And then okay, so I did sit down to play it before I made the video. This is actually the second time I've shot this part of the video because I had it all out. I tuned it up. It would not intonate. The strings were garbage. So I'm like, you know what? This is pointless to keep going on like this. So I stopped everything and I put fresh strings on it. These are number 10 D'Addario XL EXL 110BT bright tone round wound nickel wound number 10s. Those are nice strings. And I like 10s on Les Paul style and SG style guitars. So back to what I was saying. So when I was intonating it, the saddle on an LP, much to my surprise, is actually slightly off center. Not really off center, but like it's slightly angled. If you look here, there's less space between the pickup and the bridge here than there is here. So it's actually compensated slightly. So it's turned out. Well, and then this particular style of saddles, they have the little screw and then the bent piece of wire that holds the screw down so they don't fall out because they're notched at the top instead of a hole through where the screw goes in. And so the intonation on the three low strings was flat. And when it's flat, you go towards the headstock. When it's sharp, you go towards the end. Well, I basically ran out of space. So this thing is off just slightly. But I measured the distance from the saddles to on my Firefly, which intonates perfectly, but that's got a little bit different style saddle, you know, holder, whatever you want to call bracket, than this one does. But point being is those saddles can't go any farther forward, and it's still ever so slightly flat. But I think it's okay though, because I played it. I did some recordings, testings, and everything, and played it. And as long as you don't press really, and I think once I correct the nut, it'll play just fine. But I was today years old when I realized that because I thought this thing was out of I thought it was supposed to be straight parallel to the pickup. And so I measured it. I was like, why can't I get this thing to intonate? And so I measured it. I'm like, oh, well, this must be off. This must be out of shape, out of whack. I looked at every single other guitar I own that has a Tune-O-Matic bridge, even the Epiphone. They're all the same. So that is a design. That's the way they're designed. So, but this one could be slightly out of shape. It's supposed to be a 24 3/4 inch scale length. And if you take the tape measure, the 24 3/4 inch mark on the low side of the strings falls right at the edge of this part here. And these saddles they're bent backwards. So I suppose I could flip those around so that they can go back a little bit. So I'm not sure what I'm going to do. It's not like a deal breaker. This guitar is playable, but man, somebody buying one of these that doesn't really know much about setting up a guitar probably would have sent this back because it was kind of a nightmare to get this thing set up. And then the fact that the nut is so high and I press really hard, you press, and the frets being tall, this guitar will sound out of tune if you don't play it carefully. So, okay, that said, let's move on to, strap. Put this on a strap and see if there's any neck dive, see how well balanced it is. It is heavy, man. It's almost 8 pounds, so it's, wow, balance good. No neck dive. Okay, here we go. Okay, so balance good. So let's plug this in and see how it sounds. And before I changed the strings on it, it sounded really bad. The strings were pretty terrible. So always, I think if you buy one of these cheap guitars from Amazon, if you're not used to buying guitars from Amazon, automatically buy a set of strings a good set of strings and change them out as soon as you get the guitar, because the ones that come with it are not good. And then one thing I noticed on this type of saddle with the wire that holds the screws down, because there's not a hole in the side of this bracket, where some of them have a hole and the screws go into that, there's a buzz somewhere in here. And I had that same problem. Can't remember if it was the one of the other guitars I had that had a Tune-O-Matic bridge on it. There was a buzz somewhere. I don't know if it's those screws vibrating in there, if it's the wire, or if some of the frets are too tall. It could be some of the frets on this, because when I was going through checking the strings to make sure that nothing was, bottoming out, I got a little bit of buzzing. So, and right now I have the action set a little too high for my liking to compensate for that buzzing. The neck's got ever so slight bit of relief to it. So, okay, we are going to start out with a semi-clean tone, and we'll go through the pickups. That's the bridge pickup. Here's middle. And the neck pickup. Oh, and real quick, let's test the output of the pickups and see how hot they are. All right, got our multimeter. So the bridge pickup is 9.6 on the ohm meter, and the neck pickup is, wow, that's hot, 8.24. And then in the middle, it usually splits the difference, 4.44. Okay, so that makes sense. They're a little hotter pickups than the Fogio. Sounds good. Let's see. Tone works. Volume. We'll see if the volume is the, yep. It acts as a cutoff switch when you're in the middle position, which if you wind it down past, say, 1, it cuts off both pickups. Completely cuts them out. So that's I guess that's standard Les Paul pickup wiring, like vintage. I never understood why they did it that way, but that's the way it is, so. The bridge pickup is really bright. It's nice. It sounds good. I think it sounds pretty nice. Okay, so let's try a little bit of distortion on it. So again, bridge pickup. Middle. And the bridge, or neck. You can tell the pickups are pretty microphonic. They're, I don't know if you can hear in the, play that back and see if you can hear it. You could on the Fogio. It was amazing. I'm like, what is going on? So, but some people like that, so I don't know. Anyway, that sounds pretty good. Let's find a quick backing track and we'll do something in a mix. And the neck pickup. we go. Okay, so there it is. There it is in a mix, just a backing track. So anyway, that's pretty good guitar. This thing was, what did I say, $179 with that coupon. Yep, so it's $189. And if you order now, arrives before Christmas. So anyway, I think this is a decent guitar. I don't think it's as good as the Firefly Les Paul style that I have. I did a review on that a little bit ago. That is a really, really nice guitar. It's got the stainless frets on it, so you don't have that sharp ends. I think the pickups in that are better because I think those are Nico and these are not. Anyway, this is a fairly decent guitar. It's just not up to the level that the Firefly is. And my Epiphone SG is far superior. So if you get an Epiphone, you're going to probably get a much better guitar. Anyway, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for suffering through with me on this particular guitar. Hopefully I can get this thing set up so that it's a player rather than right now where it's a little bit of a struggle. So anyway, thanks again for tuning in. Jay Salen. We'll see you next time.